Squat every day, 155, I think. We'll check in a minute. So I had a viewer make a suggestion that I show an entire workout, and I thought that was a pretty good suggestion. And I thought like I would do the okay. So I recently watched a Zach Tellender video where he did something he called the Sigma total, and that's max effort Zercher deadlift, max effort Zercher squat, and overhead press, strict overhead press. Kind of like a powerlifting total, but the Sigma total. And so I thought I'd do that. I thought I don't know, show from beginning to end without any cutaways what that buildup is, plus my squat every day. And I hit 205 in the squat today. Pretty good for me. I'm a little sissy boy, so 205 is pretty rough. And yeah, I was feeling good today. I was feeling strong. It seemed like a good day for this. This video will not be like a typical day of training, but it is a full day of training. So it's far from typical, actually. I'm building up to 3 maxes. And it's a little bit silly, a little bit fun. You're gonna see me do a bunch of dumb crap like this, like my goddess pose in between. I don't typically stretch between lifts. Or I don't know, I guess maybe I do, but I don't stretch intensely. But I am still very sore from the catering job I did a few weeks back. I should also say too, and I don't know why I feel compelled to say this, but I am not the biggest Zach Tellender fan. I subscribe to his channel. I watch his videos relatively regularly. I even did one of his programs and was on his Patreon, and it was a hell of a good little program for the power snatch and power clean. Yeah, 8-week program, I think. It was really fun. I'll run it again for sure. But I'm not the biggest fan of him, and he's a little bro-y for me, and that sounds judgy and shitty and not even worth mentioning in this video, really. Except, like, I don't think his videos are bad. I definitely don't think his content or his information are bad. It's just the flavor that's not my favorite. And you know, I got 17 minutes to talk here, so I'm just kind of filling in with stuff, but it's not my favorite flavor. The video where he announced the Sigma total, he had an MMA fighter on, actually, and I really enjoyed that video. It was super casual, it was really lighthearted, and yeah, man, like those 3 lifts, I just found it really compelling. So like the Zercher deadlift, if you don't know, that's a bar on the ground just like a regular deadlift, but instead of holding it in your hands, you hold it with your elbow pits, the crux of your elbow. And please excuse the audio quality if it's coming off a little weird. I'm taking my morning constitutional out in the old dairy in Savannah, Georgia. It's a beautiful day. You can probably hear the chirping birdies and whatnot. And, well, one thing you need to know about the Zercher deadlift is it is an extremely expensive movement. You can go pretty heavy with it, although certainly you'd be a weird human being if your deadlift and your Zercher deadlift were even remotely close to each other. Here you go, right? I put on my Ivan Jurek sweatshirt, summoning the awesome power of Ivan, and I'm just throwing a couple Zercher squats in after. This is at 3 times speed. I think I mentioned that already. Anyway, neurologically, the Zercher deadlift is insanely expensive. Just, you're going to feel taxed doing it. Like, I can't think of a rational way of describing how exhausting it is. Almost assuredly, This isn't because of any special properties of having the bar in your elbow pit. It's more about just like, it's an unusual movement where you can go pretty heavy. You're loading your hips and your spine in an unusual way. You're in a very deep squat. And yeah, I just don't think we typically get loaded like that very often. And as a result, the nervous system has to really click it up a couple gears. And mine did that today. Now, the Zercher squat, which we do second, he has us do from the rack. And I've never done Zercher squats from the rack before. My thinking in the past was, if you're doing a Zercher squat, you should deadlift it from the ground. Meaning that you have like a way to regulate the weight so you don't go too heavy. Typically your deadlift is going to be higher than your squat. I think that's true for most people. In the Zercher situation, I'm pretty sure the opposite is true for most people. I don't know for sure. You know, I'm not an expert on this thing. I'm an amateur weightlifter at best. So please take that with a grain of salt. But my Zercher squat is definitely higher than my Zercher deadlift, you know? And so in the past, I've used the Zercher deadlift as a way to regulate so that I don't go too heavy on the squat. I'll do 1 deadlift up and 3 squats. That's kind of the couplet I've typically enjoyed. I think this is 215. Yeah, pretty good. And yeah, man, I do like 3 times speed. I feel like this looks pretty good. You can follow the action. I can sort of check form. Not that that's an issue with this one, because form is kind of whatever works, you know? And I love that. I love lifting. I love lifts that ask you to do things that are outside conventional wisdom, you know? Like, you cannot desert your deadlift without a rounded back. It must be rounded. Good luck getting in that position without rounding your back. I think you'd be catastrophically injured if you even could get into shape. And this is 235, and this is where I tap out. I probably could have gone to 250, but I don't think I would have been capable of doing much else. And also, I typically don't meditate between sets. I don't think that's a very good idea at all. But I was so keyed up. Like, I was not doing a lot of work in the proper sense. But, like, I was breathing hard. My heart was pounding. And that's not a great way to approach the bar. You know, another downside to this style of filming is there's going to be a lot of time where you're just staring at weights. You know, I'm out taking a little walk. I'm out trying to get my shit together so that I can come back here and pull this off the ground in my elbow pits. There we go. Rough. Giving myself a couple love taps in the face. Getting in position. I'm watching this for the first time, same as you. Let's see how I do. I like that setup. Oh, so wonky. So boo. It went up though, so whatevs. Now you might be looking at that and thinking, oh, his body is way out of balance. It probably is, you know, but it's also from the way the bar sits in your elbows. Like, if you're off by even a half inch, it's going to move really wonky, like really wonky. And there's no way to express this except like maybe just try it, you know? And please go light. Go very light at first. In all likelihood, your mobility is just fine for the Zercher deadlift, but you might have like a secret deficiency hiding in your body somewhere, and you do not want to discover it under the bar. Like, like, or if you do discover it under the bar, let it be just the bar, you know? Because you do not want to be in a stress situation with a mobility limitation. I mean, I feel like that's a non-controversial statement, you know? So now we're doing the squat. I think that's 185 on the bar. I'm taking off Ivan Jurek because it wasn't helping. If I'm fearlessly honest with myself, I thought the sweatshirt would help my elbows a little bit. It didn't, man. There's no reprieve. There's nothing you can do. And more pacing, more carrying on, sipping water, stalling for time. I gave myself an hour to do all of this. And I promised that I wouldn't go even 1 second over an hour, because this isn't like a proper strength building workout. It's more of a test, you know? And I'm absolutely cool. Yep. So what I'm doing there is I'm taking the bar down to my knees and I'm coming to a full stop. And then sometimes I even re-brace in the bottom, really get a strong position and power up. Is that a good tactic? I'm not 100%, you know? You're going to have to figure that stuff out for yourself. I do think the Zercher squat is a really fun, really safe movement, kind of like the barbell goblet squat. You can go pretty heavier than you think, pretty safely. I do have my safety rails set on the bottom, so if I got in trouble, I would literally rest that bar in my hip crease and just sit down, and I'm out, you know? So what do we got here? 225, right? Okay. More stalling, more pacing. Probably give myself a few more little love taps in the mug and get under this bar. I don't know, man. I'm feeling a little weird, and I kind of promised myself I would never script these videos, and I would never pour a fine tooth comb over it and all of that. But I do feel a little weird stating that I don't really enjoy Zach Tellender's YouTube channel. Because certainly I watch it and I'm subscribed, and it's just that, like, some of the humor doesn't land for me, and some of the retro stuff just hits me in a weird way. But overall, his content's great, and his information's great, and he's a great coach. So, yeah, I guess I want to backpedal on that. So, yeah, when I get to the bar, hold it snug, pull it in close to the chest, make sure I'm bracing really, really hard. Do your best to dial in your foot position. It's not going to be the same foot position as your standard squat. So, you know, you're going to have to do a little hunting and pecking, and good luck. And then I lower down until the bar hits above my knees. I get in a really good position. Like I said, sometimes I release my brace and re-brace in the bottom. It's a pretty passive position at the bottom. It doesn't have to be. You could certainly stay active all the way down and all the way up. That doesn't feel optimal to me. But, I mean, probably we're not shaped even remotely the same. I mean, you're free to completely disagree on that end, you know? And then I, like, put on my bad attitude and my mean face and power up. 225 moved pretty well. I think I go to 250 next, and that will be the top of my Zercher squat. So I have a 235 Zercher deadlift and a 250 Zercher squat. In order for my total to be 600 pounds, I had to overhead press 115, which is not overly challenging for me. But like I said, I was pretty fatigued at this point. It's difficult to overstate how fatiguing Zercher work is. Oh, I screwed up. I'm sorry. I was in love with the sound of my own voice and yakking at you. And I didn't notice that that last rep was 250. Maybe I'll label the video better. Once again, you know, no script, no edits. One talk all the way through. So what else? Here we go. Yeah, I'm just feeling the shoulders, just feeling the position, just stalling basically, trying to give myself a little time to recover so that I don't feel as completely destroyed when the weights get a little heavier. I jump from just the bar to 95 pounds. Oh yeah, and I do this weird, I've been loving this stretch lately. Basically where I get into the oblique, I kind of bias the weight overhead, straight arm, and just allow gravity to pull me open a little bit, but I fight back against it. There are tons of variations on that stretch, and it's kind of the starting position of the Klein twist press. I remember that 95 felt awful, and I was nervous about the 115 because, like, being that close to a pretty achievable 600 total for the Sigma total, I really didn't want to miss it. So I went from 95 to 105. And as is commonly the case, like, the bar to 95 was too big a jump. I should have taken a little more time and given my body a few more reps. But the time was getting close. I was about to hit my 1 hour time limit. I just didn't want to. You know, at a certain point in your workout, it's just like, ugh. But I just don't feel like it. So the 105 felt good. And I go to 115. And, well, I'll just spoil it for you. I get 115 and I get 125. 125 is a real good overhead press for me. Much better than I typically deserve. Which, it's not that I haven't hit it before, but that's my max. That's my best effort. And in some ways I'm a little annoyed by today's work because, and this wasn't on the plan, this wasn't in my program or anything, but if I'd worked up to an intelligent overhead press, I probably would have hit 135 today. And it bums me out a little bit, just a little bit, because I haven't pressed 135 overhead since I was like a big fat child. You know, I was in college, I was in my early 20s, and I weighed like 225 pounds. Yep, and this is just me more stalling, a little hanging, playing with my scapulas, trying some protraction there, getting in position. 115 felt pretty good. One more rep, and I feel like I speed this one along. It was at this point, the 115 felt good. It was at this point where I was beginning to think, damn it, I should have planned today to go for 135. Now, that's the sort of weird egotistical regrets that kind of linger on us as weightlifters. The fact is, within the next month or so, I'm definitely going to press 135. Like, it's just definitely going to happen. I forget where we are at this point. I think this one's 125. I don't know. And now I'm feeling what you must be feeling, just staring at a barbell, staring at a screen. Let's see what happens. Yep, sticking point right around eye height, but that's good. So, okay. Guys, that was awesome. This is Joe in real life. I love you. Be good to each other today. And I'm going to try hard to do the same. I have the day off, so I'm just going to do nothing. Maybe I'll play some Skyrim. Yeah. But anyway, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.